do whatever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spitfire. This is season 2, episode 21. My name is Brice. Joining me for this one, of course, Tunn. He'll be doing stuff in the background and trying to make sure everything is correct. But more importantly, our guests for this week. Let's start with the person I can see first, Marky B, coach of Toronto Ultra. How are you, Marky?
I am absolutely awful, but how about you, Brice?
Well, I'm all right. I'm not too bad. I'm actually planting the bomb as we do this. Next, let's move along. Tactical Rab. How are you, Tactical Rab?
What is good? Not bad at all. I haven't played Modern Warfare in about 2 or 3 days now, which has been good for the mental health. So I'm feeling great.
Look at him. He's in a gunfight.
I'm in a gunfight. Let's move on, though. Lando, first appearance here.
It is.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Happy to be here, and I wish you the best in your current GB.
5-1. I'll plant the bomb for you.
There you go.
All right, so yeah, one more round and I can leave this one. But yeah, it's a bit more difficult. But of course, we've got lots to talk about this week. More team announcements have been flooding in, including, of course, Toronto Ultra finally released their branding. And Splice, the brand, has been put in the bin for now. But there was a fairly big kind of kickoff party. Marky, were you at that kickoff party?
Yeah, bro, it was super duper lit, dude.
What does that even mean, Marky?
That's what you say in when you live in North America. To mean it was a great party.
So I know. So you guys have got a 10-man roster. I think they're the only team to announce a 10-man so far, right?
As far as I'm aware, yes. You might be correct on that one, Brice.
Okay, ignore me. Hang on.
I like that, Marky. Right, we won.
Am I getting confused? Okay, ignore me. I'm thinking, is there another 10-man roster this week?
I don't think one's been announced.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm aware of 10-man roster at the moment.
No, I think you're right.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing for you, Marky. You know, the fact that you've gone kind of all in on getting it. Is the idea behind that like a spare scrim team or?
I mean, I think there's multiple benefits to it. I think there's, that's obviously one of them. A team that we can use to scrim and play S&D against and stuff. And there's multiple other benefits and practice-wise that allows us to obviously reap the benefits of that. I think that obviously allows us to look at the players that we have on our substitutes bench just look at them at a better scope and able to determine who's going to be the best to start in the starting lineup and make those decisions accordingly.
I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of it. The fact that you have a lot of flexibility here, because the players now in your main team, Marky, or whoever starts that roster, they're going to be always kind of looking over their shoulder saying, there is somebody on the sub bench who could replace me here. You know, you've got that kind of versatility and move people in and out. When you sign these players, and obviously some talks must have happened with them. Are they on board with that way of doing things and saying, at some point you may be benched and we may try a few things out. Flexibility.
I mean, when we were signing all our players, that was definitely in the discussions where it made that apparent that that's the system we wanted to go with. And obviously I think the players need to use it as motivation more so than looking over their shoulder, worried about their starting spot, I think that's the way it's supposed to work, like an actual sports team. Yeah,
no, 100% agree. I do 100% agree. Obviously, the brandings will now come out for you guys. So you can all use it. I have to say, big fan of the T-shirt. I think that's fantastic merchandise, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a drop they're doing with a local Toronto clothing brand called Peace Collective. So it's like limited time, and it's like not just sort of ultra merch on its own. It's like I said, it's a collaboration. So it's pretty cool. We went and done some stuff with them last week when I was in Toronto. Cool company, and they have obviously cool ideas. They do a lot of different things with a lot of the different Toronto-based sports teams, the likes of the Raptors and the hockey and baseball teams, etc. Mm-hmm. So cool collaboration.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I thought it looked like a mental kind of party. I don't actually have a list of all the current named ones because this is where it gets a little bit tricky because I think Seattle's about to announce.
It was 4 p.m. PST, so it's a few hours time, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll come out in just a little while. Who else announced this week? Wasn't it the Gorillas announced? We didn't talk about them last time.
We only got one player. We got Aches announced with the Gorillas.
That's all you need. Big Aches.
Have we talked about the Seattle team, or was that over a week ago? At least.
Seattle have been announced. Yeah, I mean, I think they all happened in the last week. It's all happened in the run up to Modern Warfare. I think it's because it was going to be obvious people playing together, so it was a good idea to get the rosters out at that point.
Yeah.
We're only waiting on one, aren't we?
Who are we waiting for?
It's Gorillas now, isn't it?
Florida to officially announce.
Mutineers, right?
Yeah, they announced the branding, but they haven't announced their full team yet. And then the Gorillas, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Mutineers logo, by the way. At some point, we'll have to rank all these and the teams and stuff.
What do you think of the pirate code that they've got going?
I think it's very important for any brand to start putting themselves out there and having a defined kind of personality. A lot of brands just go the generic, we're super good community, yeah, everybody's great sort of thing, and it's very vanilla and wishy-washy, and it does kind of cause the downfall, right? You don't stand out doing that, Some want to play the villains, some really are about that community. Some, like Optic has a very defined face. So United, they were underdogs for a lot of the time while they were in, that story going on. I think realistically, these brands have to figure out who they are, and every single time, you can't always be the good guy, you can't always be the super clean, squeaky guy, but you do have to figure out something to hook people in, and it can't just be the players or some social media, some sarky tweets, because every company worth their salt now is putting out smarmy, sarky tweets all the time. So I do think it's very important, but I'm hoping these franchises have the right staff in board to kind of build that brand.
I mean, just to touch on like our sort of situation with Toronto, I think they've kind of went down a completely different route to a lot of other teams, which is what I like. They've got a lot of great plans for content and like just the general brand itself, the look of it and everything. It's just a sort of different to a lot of the other franchises, which I like. And I'm looking forward. I don't really know too many details apart from what I've already been made aware of, but I just know that they've got a lot of great plans in the pipeline for the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the content and all that side of stuff works out.
I think it's a good point, right? Because take your t-shirt, for instance. Ultra as fuck. Instantly, right? I think that's great. I saw it in the branding when it got released. I saw it at the party, and I was like, you know what? That's something cool enough and edgy enough that people will be like, that's awesome. Ultra as fuck, right? Yep. Just that entire statement by itself has more direction than 90% of social media that orgs have already put out. That's it. Like a lot of it's just bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is. I don't care. I'm not interested. We'll find out how good your team is when we go. But before then, I'm not. Unless I'm from that area specifically, your brand means literally nothing. Yeah, right now, we'll see how it goes throughout the year. But it's one of those things. Let's talk about some of the other teams going on, because this is the part where people are now starting to try and rank these teams. We know, I believe it's Dallas have had a fantastic week.
They've had an unbelievable week.
Baby.
They've literally smoked everybody. Bear in mind, it is just S&D.
Yeah, so, I think they won 15 grand between them.
Jesus.
In the first week.
That's a good effort.
And even yesterday in that 2v2 tournament, not like it really matters that much, not like it was much indication, but still, Crim and Shotzi won it. What was it? Clay and Illy were like third or something. Like, it just shows they understand the game right now is something else.
Yeah.
I
was tweeting about it through the week, and a few people were quick to remind me that Optic won everything at the beginning of last year. And I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, so
I would take everything with a pinch of salt at the same time. I do agree that with that point that Optic did win a lot of the stuff that started last year, and also this is literally the first week of the game.
It's just like they've figured things out first.
Yeah, they're
playing well, obviously, but
they've figured all that stuff out early, and I think that they've been one of the teams that have put in that real effort early on, and I think that a lot of the other teams obviously haven't. Some, like for example, our team, when they were scrimming and practicing all these different strategies and whatnot. Our team are still in Toronto doing like media obligations and whatnot. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of different teams have had different things that they needed to.
Your season isn't defined in week one.
Yeah.
I think it's really important for this particular roster to actually be practicing early, especially with someone like Shotzi, because like we have seen for other Halo players that have kind of progressed over to COD, it takes time. Like Hook wasn't an instant success when he came back. Frosty took some time throughout the season to really adjust. So I think him working with guys like Clayster and Grim, and obviously working alongside the rest of the team, I think is hugely beneficial. I think as much as you can kind of fire into that guy as possible to learn the basics about stuff, I think, you're only going to reap the benefits once the season starts.
I'm ever slightly worried about burnout, And it's probably not a big problem at the start of the game because you've got months, but some of the, and this is off a tangent, we're going off a tangent already. some of the pros, right, like on the office, like, yeah, I'm going to try to eat better, I'm going to get fit. As soon as Modern Warfare goes, 31-hour stream, I'm in. I'm like, why? Why?
Even as somebody who's not on the pro team, my diet has went down the pan since Modern Warfare came out. It becomes to the point where you are like happy to grind away, and then it's like, oh well, yeah, okay, maybe I'm being a bit lazy here. Maybe it's just me, but it's it's one of those things where it happens to a lot of people, not just players.
I think you can honestly like look at the first week though as like a bit. That's just sort of what everyone does at the start of every year. I think when the season gets into the swing of things, and I think everyone's just going to grind at the start. Everyone wants to play the game, so I'm not really too worried about players and having burnout and whatnot. Although I do agree with the health eating stuff. Obviously, that's if players are drastically changing their diets, that's obviously not good. But like I said, I think that when it's the season's into the swing of things, I think that's when you're going to see players having specific days off, stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's going to be... That's all going to be controlled, I think, from the franchises.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things as well, like the start of this season, because now we are technically officially into Modern Warfare, right? This is where all the off-season bullshit, it all goes away. Now we start building up into the first event, right? This is now this upward tick to the first event. We'll see how it goes. But it's very curious because I am still hearing reports of stuff that I'm not entirely enthused about. And what I'm getting to here is teams still don't have their staff. And we've banged on about this every week, but it's still happening. Modern Warfare has officially started. Brands are basically all out. People still don't have their staff. I even had a pro complain to me the other day saying, I don't even know what our social media is doing right now. I have no idea what marketing's doing. They haven't spoken to us. We don't know what we're doing all year. We don't know what we should be doing a hashtag. We don't know if anything, brand-wise going on. And obviously we want to build our brand as much as the brand does. This is a very key time. So it's very interesting start of the year for several reasons, because teams are still worrying about rule sets. They're still figuring out the maps and everything. And it seems like organizations are as well. Lando, I'm going to ask you this one to kind of kick things off, even though I think it might be Marky's area of expertise. How do you think a team should kind of, and I'm speaking about more the players and coaching staff, should kind of bring themselves into this year for Modern Warfare in regards to learning the game and starting to set up those practices?
So you mean like how should the teams like evaluate like beginning that process? Or
yeah. Because right now it doesn't seem like there's anybody putting any process in. Some people are playing 2K, some people are just playing until they drop. I don't see an awful lot of coordinated efforts.
Yeah, I think at this point, you kind of have to choose a few different routes. Obviously, like I said, I think online tournaments are the way to kind of earn the early expertise in the game. I think, like I said, it's still early. I think within the first few weeks, I think whenever I was watching scrims yesterday between the Empire and Atlanta, I think like Illy was like, hey guys, I've been grinding the game. I have no idea what the hardpoint rotations are. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. So I think at this point, this isn't the time necessarily to develop hardcore strategies and think about, hey, this is what we want to do. But I think at this moment, just playing as much as you can, whether that be online, whether that's working internally on, different minor things, I think is key. But I think right now, since there are so many different rosters, one thing that I think would be really important is just working on, things like chemistry, making sure that people are on the same page. What roles are players kind of more fine-tuned into? Because I know, and Tunn's obviously talked about this on Twitter and kind of in the pre-show about like how solid the M4 is. There are SMG guys who have ran traditionally SMGs who are now using ARs. So it's like you need to be aware of kind of the basics, I think, first off, and kind of get the core principles of things down before you kind of work on other things. But I think a lot of that has to come through online as of this moment. So.
And I think another thing to note on the point you touched on about the M4 is that things up until the season starts are going to obviously change. I mean, even that first rule set, they've even said this is not the definitive final game modes, final maps, etc. This is just V1. So, things like it's hard for teams to practice properly, I would say, and say, right, let's get scrims. This is what we should be doing. I think you're right in the respect of chemistry, playing together, learning the game, getting used to the game is pretty much what everyone should be doing right now, because things competitive wise are going to change. Let's be honest, they're going to change before 20.
Because people are like talking about how the bomb sites, like, hey, we should try to evaluate bomb sites and stuff like that, which is fine, but all that stuff can be tweaked. Like all that stuff can be moved around. So I wouldn't try to develop hardcore strategies for anything at this moment, just because we literally learned the rule set yesterday. So that's just the way that I would interpret it.
I tell you what, Rab, you have your say before I launch into this, because I'm definitely about to send it on another tangent. So.
You like to do that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was thinking along a similar vein, really, how there's a degree to which you can learn how the movement mechanics work and the fact that we now have this double sprint thing going on and all these other factors. But at the same time, the degree to which you can understand and learn how to use those depends on how the sound system works within the game. I think we'll maybe get into this, talking about footstep audio and the like. And it's difficult to really get used to how you can use and abuse these certain mechanics and the degree to which you have to walk and crouch walk, and the ability and the speed that you can move in this game is going to be very dependent on how the footstep audio is tweaked going forwards. Right now, the fact that dead silence has been fixed, as it were, and now it's completely silent, has completely changed the game in a sense, because dead silence comes around pretty often, and now you can make crazy plays and to sprint through smokes and do mad stuff, especially because Thermal doesn't even see through smoke. So I think I agree and echo your guys' points, really, as to like, yes, you can play for chemistry right now, but the entire makeup of the game could change in the next, well, it certainly will change before the league starts, and it will probably change within the next couple of weeks and the next month. There's many tweaks that could be made that completely change how Search and Destroy, especially in Respawn, will play. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the matter.
Interesting. Marky, anything to add to that?
No, to be honest, I think.
Okay, good. Because I think everything we just said there was, while valid, was too narrow in scope. Because you're still thinking last year. You're still thinking last year. You're forgetting that there's more to it this year. And I'm talking in the fact that was something we covered last week, and something that actually two professionals have already hit me up in the DMs this past week. Everything outside of the game. Everything else, like building a rapport between teammates. How do you deal with how they communicate with each other? What is the coaching staff and the nutritionists and the psychologists and all these people we're supposed to have had come into franchising and has been gassed up? Envious said they've got it. The Empire said apparently they've got it. Where are the nutritionists? Well, this already has to all go in. It's not just one aspect of coaching and getting to learn the game now.
But is week 1 of the game the time to do it?
Dude, the off-season was the time to start it.
No, I know, but at the same time, this is not the week to do it, though.
Teams aren't all in the same place right now.
That's what I'm saying. That's
the
the issue.
Some players' controls, though. Some teams' controls, though, because things like visas, etc., are still like being figured out for teams. Like, if in an ideal world, everyone would be in the same place in the same location right there, right now, and that would be going on. But that's just not the world we live in.
No, I agree with that. I think there is an awful lot more coaching wise and approaching the year in the game. And there's habits that have to be built up, right? Your player cannot go from, just chilling, playing scrims all day to, oh, by the way, we're going to do this thing about how you communicate with your teammates outside of the game and understanding and developing yourself to learn better. And also, this is the way coaching is going to do this. This is the approach we want to take with coaching and actually improve you as a player as well as the total stream strategy. Because a lot of coaching is not always about the individual. It's sometimes about the entire team. And I think this year we should see more individual coaching as well, because it needs to happen. Players need to understand that when you're being coached, sometimes you don't go, oh, that guy went 6-27. Why are you even talking to me? It's not about that. It's about making sure that everybody's getting their peak performance up. And then whether that's, you call this guy a fucking moron out of the game. You probably shouldn't do that. That's not going to help him mentally. And he obviously, we will talk to him and coach him by himself. But there are more aspects to it, or there should be more aspects for it. And like Marky, correctly said, it's still coming. But, all this stuff does have to come. And you do want to get these habits going forward. And you need these players to understand. And it's not an easy thing. None of this is an easy thing. Changing lifestyles, changing the way you play, having more of your day taken up. No player is going to appreciate, because all they want to do right now is play 8 hours a day minimum. No player is going to appreciate it if a coach goes, oh, by the way, we need you for 2 hours to do a trustful exercise. They're not going to be particularly happy about that.
We're going down to the woods to play paintball together, guys. Come
exactly. And while they're extreme examples, Tunn, I do think some of those, stuff may actually happen this year, because it does work in proper sports, and it will work in this.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, is that we also don't know if things are happening behind the scenes with certain teams. I know we have heard, and you have, as you say every week, had players in your DMs, because you love to talk to players. We know that, Brice. I think there will be organizations who are doing it right, who just aren't publicly saying, oh, etc., etc. But at the same time, I know what you mean. It is a worry to a point, but I think this is. You were right that the preseason was the time to do it, but that's gone now. And
don't even get me started on content, by the way.
Well, not start, mate. Wait, I mean, that tweet from Optic.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
Clip, man. Fuck's sake! It was like watching me play pubs. I was like, you done nothing special.
Mate,
You did nothing special.
That's the Dashy one, right? Yeah.
You did nothing.
That was MVP.
Literally got 3 kills in 30 seconds.
Somewhere, Hex has opened up his Twitter and just started
Laugh.
pissing himself with laughter. Just like literally. By the way, that reminds me, Chicago. That happened in the last week. How have we not
the
spoken about
announcement video.
Chicago?
Yeah.
The most heart-pulling announcement video I've ever seen.
Yeah, that
But
was
also-
hard to watch. Goodness.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really easy to watch because all I could keep seeing is if somebody just superimposed a giant middle finger over it to Optic, like just fuck you, you'll never have this. Everybody hate Optic. That's what that video, it was, as well as the positivity that come out of that video. I couldn't help but chuckle watching it because as great as Hex is, it did essentially go fuck you.
That's the insane spot, though. Like, just to jump in real quick, that Optic Gaming are in. You've talked a bit about how these brands that are just starting off, like they've got to build up their reputation and they've got to find out exactly what their identity is going to be. A year ago, we didn't think Optic Gaming was going to have to reconsider what their identity is, but like they're the biggest villains in the scene right now. They have to contend with that, and those social media posts are really helping them, right? Like people are thinking this is just a joke of an organization right now. The people that have come in and are now running the social medias, like I don't even know how to decipher that. Like, did they actually upload the wrong clip? Was it just someone who doesn't understand the game? Like, was it done for Twitter interactions? Like, what's going on here? But still, like, they have to figure out their identity as much as all these other teams coming up, even though they've got the Twitter followers behind them, because they've got a hell of a lot of hate as well.
I think too that like puts them pretty much in a position where and this includes the roster as well, like every mistake has like the ultimate spotlight on it. Like that video in particular, I know wasn't obviously great, but like you notice like the traction that it got. It's like, oh my gosh, Optic, what a crazy video this was. And then instantly, I'm sure it was all over Reddit. Like I can't believe this. Like, and then the fans obviously, which is a very sore subject because you did take over what is labeled as one of the most prestigious things, and now it's kind of being transferred over to another party. But I think including the roster, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but just in general, I think has the overwhelming spotlight of the community saying at any point they make somewhat of a mistake, if they start to falter a little bit, they're going to be there to just, bash them even more. And I think that puts such an overwhelming amount of pressure on them to make sure they don't make mistakes, which could be actually a good thing on the overall spectrum of things. But it's definitely interesting because I'm sure that they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's and making sure everything has to be perfect, because if not, they're going to be called out for everything.
It's just imagine admittedly, right, the only benefit for Optic right now is that they didn't technically buy Optic for Optic, from what I understand. The Immortals bought it for the LCS spot.
Yeah.
But you're probably thinking, they go, wow, this is one of the nicest brands in all of esports. Without any shadow of a doubt, the Optic Gaming Green Wall was a massive powerhouse. Right, and then you've got the ex-CEO telling you to fuck off. You've got the infinite bad, stuff left over from the infinite period. You've got social media going on. You've got rumors Dashy doesn't even want to be there anymore. Everybody's sticking the boot into Optic. The new GM of Optic Gaming, by the way, had to apologize on Twitter for basically being the GM, as far as I can tell.
What, Eric?
And things turn so quickly as well, how like when Dashy is on Optic Gaming last year, it's all like, oh, Dashy's best player in the world, whatever. And of course, he was definitely a contender. Whereas this year, all of a sudden, obviously it's no surprise, but all of a sudden you see people saying, oh, Dashy's overrated. You see these clips coming out and you're like, well, obviously that's how things work. But at the same time, that's not psychologically where you want to be in that position. Slasher and Kenny, JCap, they're used to this, right? But TJ and Dashy, given the season they've just had, it's a rarity for them and probably not something they were maybe expecting to the fullest extent, or maybe didn't think about to a great degree. I don't really know how the contracts went down behind the scenes, but when they were signed, whatever, with the whole Chicago Hex thing. But that's been rumored and talked about. But like, this is going to be a completely new experience for them. Is it going to be? Are they going to be able to hold up? Like, what are their performances going to be like when you don't have the crowd behind you? Right. So big questions.
Yeah. No idea. Honestly, I have no idea. It could go either way. But let's move on from this, because that's a topic where it's very subjective and we don't know what's going to happen. I think it might be okay. Let's talk about Modern Warfare, because let's face it, big news this week. It did drop only a few days ago, and it is now out. I would say feedback on Twitter to this game has been mixed, to say the least.
Mixed.
What was that, Tunn? What was that?
I was merely laughing
Okay.
The mix bit, Landon.
All
Because
right. Let's
I think
get a few
Brice was being sarcastic.
Let's get a few things out of the way. No, it hasn't been the most positive social media feedback for a Call of Duty launch. I'll admit that. I think one of the problems that we have exacerbated it now just a little bit will be usually there's already a rule set drop day one, so people just play competitive. There was Blackout last year, so people just went and played Blackout instead of pubs. I know personally for me, I don't really play publics. I just don't. I actually am probably the same rank now on this game than I was at the end of the last game, Black Ops 4 in publics, because I just don't play them. So obviously when you're being forced into publics over and over again, it's not always the most enjoyable experience. And in this game, it does cater a little bit to, we say, the slower play style. You know, a lot of claymores, pre-aiming, and footsteps. But let's talk about the things we do want to see feedback on. They've already made one change to Dead Silence, right? They have changed, so it's now properly silent. I still think footsteps do need to be tweaked.
I think what I want to see personally is an option for when you don't have Dead Silent to be silent, like there has been. So like a crouch walk or ADS walk, that needs to be on, because you are ultimately relying on waiting on Dead Silence to do fucking anything in Search and Destroy. It's going to make things even more difficult in Hardpoint, etc. I think ultimately a tweak to footsteps so they're not so loud will be good, but I think that we need to see something done about being able to be silent other than just with Dead Silence. I didn't hate the fact that you couldn't sprint without making noise with Dead Silence previously, but it was bad because that was the only way you could be silent, is walking with Dead Silence. That was the only way. So I think that was where it was bad. I'm still like, I know this is probably a bigger argument than we really need to get into. I'm not, you know, I wasn't 100% on being able to like sprint and be completely silent, because now it's made it very aggressive at times when you do have Dead Silence. Yeah. When we're talking S&D anyway. I don't know. I think it's something that just needs to be fixed pretty quickly. They have already been quick with a fix anyway. But honestly, I think there does need to be an option to at least be silent for that respect, because it's just going to make things so difficult. You are crutch relying on having Dead Silence to do pretty much anything. It's making it so slow because everyone just sits and waits to hear you. I mean, I've not played as many GBs wages as Mark or anything, but
like, at least in the game in the current state, if you're on a 2v1 or 1v2, whatever, you don't know what to do, you don't know where people are, you just sit still, you listen, you figure things out, and that's basically how a lot of people play pubs right now, because it's the best.
Everyone's just sitting, like, even from the beta, I've noticed like kills in pubs are generally like drastically less. People are just playing to sound whore a lot, and that's
don't get me started on TDM pubs. I had to do that for a challenge before. I want to blow my fucking brains out within 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's not the best, to be honest. I think a lot like I said, a lot of it would be fixed with what you suggested, just making it so that it's silent if you're aiming down sights or if you're crouching. Those are like two simple fixes, and I think
it'd be nice to see
that allows tactical gameplay as well. That like you can't just sprint about, and if you are, and you can use that sort of knowledge of players not being able to do that to make smarter plays and have just a better general gameplay itself. So.
Like, I like the idea of what they tried to do in terms of slowing down the game, because I think we all can agree, like, Black Ops 4, very, very fast, especially with 5v5, like Search and Destroy.
But higher TTK, right?
Right, exactly. Like, my big thing is that I think that their goal was to make it slower by including the TTK. We talk about Claymore damage. We talk about the verticality of the maps. Dead Silence no longer being a perk. Footsteps are loud. The map size is big. Like, it all points to the fact that they wanted to make the game slow. But I feel like in all of the things that currently are involved with it, it is too slow. Like I think we all like have entered into that pub. Of course, Tunn just mentioned it. Like I find myself in public matches, which this isn't competitive, but even general still yet. I find myself in a domination where the entire lobby is just chilling in random rooms with shotguns. Like, and that for me is too slow. There's not a derivative factor that says, hey, I need to get out of here. I need to move around, like, et cetera, et cetera. I think that needs to be upgraded in some capacity, because it's just way too like
But another
And the maps are
pointer to
huge.
that,
Like you spawn out and you're in Narnia. Like
another point to that is the fact there's kill streaks now, so people aren't playing objective anymore because they just sit in fucking buildings and be like, oh well, I've got my fucking VTOL now, so now I'm Gucci. Like people don't need to move.
Process here, man. Like Modern Warfare. Okay, Black Ops 2. We had Modern Warfare 3. We had point streaks for the first time, right? So it's been that long since we had an idea that objectives should be incorporated into kill streaks, into the kill streak rewards.
But there's a perk to change it. I don't know, like...
It should be an option, I think. I saw an exclusive Ace video when he was like, maybe just, the way that you can either play hardcore and hardcore, you press like square or hardcore or core, whatever. Like you should just have that option. You can either have kill streaks or you can have point streaks. Just if you can make that an option, then it would allow objective players to actually gain something. Like, I guess we're talking pubs here, but which I just haven't.
But even for comp, it should be that way.
Yeah. No, very true.
I think you're compromising. It just should be score streaks. I see absolutely no reason. I see absolutely no reason for any compromise at any point on that point. Here's what you say. Oh, people have the choice. No, you have the choice. You literally already have the choice. If you don't want to go onto the objective and just get kills, you get points for killing people. Period. There is no bloody grey area here, right? Score streaks allow multiple ways of playing a game. Kill streaks do not. That is it. That is literally the bottom line, and I do not understand why that choice has been made. It's the one point where I said there is not a grey area. Things like
roots, Brice.
Things like the sound design and stuff is very interesting. I'll tell you why it's interesting. Not only we've said that the map design doesn't help, but I think the sound on this game, because you got to remember it's a new engine, right? It's different to previous COD games. Like I was running around somewhere earlier. It's almost like every footstep has like a deep echo, and it's like they're trying to bounce it off walls and stuff. Because they've and I don't know whether when they tested it, it was muffling it too much or doing whatever. But everything in this game seems to have the sound turned up to 11. You go in on a helicopter which blows your ears off. You've got score streaks coming in that are super loud. As soon as you get hit, your actual sound. I don't know if people have noticed.
There's a VTOL jet outside my window half of the day, man. Honestly, it's like it's outside. My windows are being blown to bits by a Harrier jet.
But when you have it, like some of the soundscape doesn't always make sense, because if you remember in previous games, you could basically pinpoint in a room where somebody is. I found on this game it's more muddled. Like it's super loud. It's super loud,
but it's not distinctive.
But it's not as distinctive. And bearing in mind, pretty much every single one of us has a gaming headset at some point, and you know how good they can be.
I don't know how far away people are as well. Sometimes you'll hear like footsteps, and I'm like, "Is this guy right next to me? Is this guy 2 buildings away above me?" Maybe there's a degree to which you can figure out how loud the sounds are, but sometimes I just don't know what's going on. I don't even know directions. Coming back to the dead silence point, I think that was quite interesting. Was that like the fact that double sprinting in dead silence is now, I feel like to some degree they've gone too far the other way. Like dead silence before did nothing. Like it was, barely made things silent. Like probably the dead silence before could maybe just be the normal footstep audio or however you want to do that. But like the fact that you can double sprint now and it's completely silent is probably too far the other way, right?
That was my.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's a problem because it's a limited. Here's the thing, right? Like I said, I was literally playing a game before we come into this one. And I had an opportunity on, I want to say gun runner to hit a flank. Now, I didn't have dead silence at this point, and I tried to go slow. It doesn't really work. The problem is it completely and totally negates your ability to play the game like it is. I didn't have dead silence. I'm trying to hit through coal, and I'm sitting there going, well, if I go fast enough to try to become a factor in this play or this gunfight going down or change the situation in any way, the enemy, and this is exactly what happened, the enemy team doesn't actually have to have that map control and have that angle covered that I'm coming from. They can hear me coming from like a street over, and they just have to turn when ready, right? And that is exactly what happened. I even saw it in the kill cam. The guy was mid-heady. He heard me coming from left through coal. He jumped off, come around pre-aim and got me, right? That doesn't allow the kind of tactical play we're expecting. Because you've been punished there for trying to get into the game and make a difference. And he's been rewarded by not only being able to be involved in that one gunfight, but also cover an angle he doesn't have and a hole in their defenses purely by the soundscape. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's like, oh, you got to play slow or do whatever at X. Well, if you're trying to cover, these intricate maps, and they are very intricate maps, there's lots of places to go, lots of crevices to get to. You don't always have the choice to cover everything, or if you're far away trying to cover something, then you can't get into a fight safely or, with a minimum of risk. It's a difficult soundscape to work with. Slightly different in Esports because everything's going ballistic all the time, but even then you can hear people coming. I just think I'd like to see it as a perk, and I think that's why people feel so strongly about this perk system, that having it in there right now allows for the game to feel more fluid and natural. It allows for plays, it allows for gunfights and tactics to take precedence over cranking your mix amp up.
Mix amp warfare. I agree with that. I just think that like I think if it was a choice between this game Footsteps as it is right now and playing Ghosts where everyone has dead silence and no one makes any noise, like obviously that's better. But in an ideal world, I think there should be some punishment for trying to make really quick plays.
But why? The punishment for a quick play, Rab, and I have to disagree with you here because the punishment for a quick play is that you are either hitting into a sprint or you're coming out of cover. Like those are the drawbacks. There's already enough drawbacks coming out of sprint or trying to move into a position where you don't have that information. That's why fast gameplay doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to slow it down. You see teams slow it down in game. That's why I feel so strongly about a change like that, or having that come back a lot faster. Dead silence come back a lot faster. Have it more tactical like that. I cannot agree with that compromise because it doesn't make sense. You've got to think there's already so many negatives to it.
Well, I mean, I just look at CSGO, and when you sprint in that game, you make noise. And the reason for that is because when you're moving so quickly and you'd say you're trying to make a quick flank, to some degree, it allows a degree that there's a risk reward in terms of being able to move that quickly. I see where you're coming from. At the same time, I feel like if I'm on St. Petrograd and I'm, if 5 people are legging it down mid and I'm hitting a bomb site on offense, or I'm on defense, and I'm on offense, I'm running, whatever the case is, right? I feel like that team should have some indication that those players are making that play because it's, I don't know if I can explain it better than that. So,
but here's the thing, because people have said that, right, about I think it's Rainbow Six and CSGO that have been brought into it. First of all, I spawned up earlier 250 meters away from a hard point, right? 250 meters away.
Just walk, bro.
Mate, Usain Bolt at full chat won't get there for 25 seconds. Right. Also, this isn't the same game. The mechanics are different. Rainbow Six has intricate maps, but the engagement distance is very, very short. Right, it's very, very short because you're creeping through houses and doing this very tactical thing around it. So it's not always difficult to get away, and you have got out there. That's what the game's more like. CS:GO obviously has incredibly different gun mechanics. We're talking about stopping for the shop and everything. It's not really comparable mechanics to COD, and that argument I don't like because there are things we can take from CS:GO and from Rainbow Six and all these other different games, but don't justify a game having something different as to why it should be the same way. It's one of the things that, and I think it's the biggest bugbear for him. And we'll move on from sound design, right? Unless Marky, do you want to jump in?
Sorry, I've literally not listened for the last 5 minutes. I'm being completely honest with you because I'm in a heated debate right now about scrim slots and stuff. That's something that's getting sorted behind the scenes right now. So sorry. I'm throwing it out there. I haven't listened to anything you've said for the last 5 minutes. No, I would not like to throw anything in there. I'm just being completely honest with you. I've not been listening.
That's the problem. We were talking about the sound design in Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Right.
But
on that note,
just throw my 2 cents in there. You've probably already said all this anyway, but obviously I believe that it should be, like I said before, fixed so that you move. If you sprint, you make sound. I think that's a simplified answer to that.
What about silent crouching? Would that fix some things, right? Because in CS, I know that Rab is giving that example. I think that you should in some way, because obviously when it comes to search and destroy specifically, this is the only one I'm talking about. Offense and defense, they both need their advantages, right? On defense, of course, you preferably have the advantage. The bomb site should be closer in some capacity to your spawn. The offense should have opportunities to get to the bomb site without it being super difficult. But at the same time, I feel like in terms of what Rab said, in terms of getting to a bomb site, I kind of get both arguments there. But I think in terms of the movement and the sound that it gives, I think that you should, depending on how Search and Destroy works specifically, if you want to be, super rush heavy, you have to receive the positives and the negatives from that. The positives are you get there faster. The negatives are that you make noise. However, if you are in a situation of which you need to get there more tactically, that's where smokes, that's where tacticals, lethals come into play. And I think at the same time, if you were to implement something like a silent crouch, it works for both parties, because you're not necessarily you're getting the advantage of being stealthy, but you're also not having the massive negative of making a crazy amount of noise. Now, should it be totally silent? I don't know. But in terms of Counter-Strike, which of course is obviously one of the best created FPSs of all time, that's the way that it works there. And it seems to work very well.
I think one of that, just one more quick thing here, Brice. So like in CS, I think one of the reasons why that's such a good idea is like if you're holding a bomb site or something on defense, like the offense there's a punishment in terms of like, because it's difficult to be a CT in Counter-Strike because like the terrorists can bunch up on you and push into the site and all that. So the fact that you have that noise cue if they are rushing into the site gives you like a pretty important thing on defense. I'm not sure whether that's so important in Call of Duty to be required, but at the same time, I can see why, if they are deciding to rush B or something, then maybe having that sound cue if you're trying to defend the site on your own or something could be helpful. I echo those thoughts on the whole.
See, here's the issue, right? Is that's all very well and good, and I think these are great points, right? I can see that aspect of it. The issue being is the map design does not allow for that. It is too intricate. There are too many corners, too much chest high cover, and too many angles. You've got to check every single one of those a lot of the times before you go in. And if you're doing it slowly, I'm sorry, but you're just not going to get there in time if you're anything other than about 6 meters away. Right? That's the. I am fine with it being silent. Like we've had it in previous games. You ADS in to be silent. You crouch to be silent. They should all. I don't understand why they aren't silent now, or why the guy apparently is wearing clogs. I understand why everybody in Modern Warfare has got tactical clogs on because that's what they all sound like. But the issue is every time you break through a door, by the way, which you can't open quietly, no matter what you do. I don't. That's the thing. If you can't get through the door, you either have to smash it open. You can peek it, but apparently no hinges have ever been oiled in Modern Warfare in the history of the world.
And you can only open doors by punching them.
Boom. But it is a difficult thing. Let's move on because there's lots more to talk about here. Let's talk about map design because that has been the second most talked about thing I think this week. And here's the issue, right? And we won't go into the rule set yet, but I just played a domination game. And honestly, there are so many corners in this game. Recapturing B, it wasn't about nade problems or oversights. It was just you'd get 3 down. I think it was Ramaza Dom. Get 3 down around B, and honestly, it's even with smokes down, it's a crapshoot whether or not you're going to get it because there are a lot of corners. There's a lot of verticality. There's a lot of shit in the way. It's not as good, and that's another major difference, by the way, to CS and stuff like that. CS is a very clean map design most of the time, right? There's not bushes. I got stabbed from a guy hiding in a bush earlier, in the middle of a GB, because there is just stuff in the way, and that again slows down the gameplay.
Gotta adapt, bro.
Honestly, don't ever go to the Modern Warfare subreddit. If anybody here is from the Modern Warfare subreddit, you are a terrible person and you don't deserve it. If I hear tactical and adapt one more time, or tactically adapt yourself through a window.
Just give it time. Give it time. The game needs to be developed more. Just give it time.
It's not. The thing is, I don't mind some of the maps. I quite like some of the maps.
I don't mind some of them. Some of them are all right.
Some seem to have extra shit sprinkled in the way.
But that's always been a big thing that we've always said. There's always been games where it's every year. It's every year. It doesn't matter what who's making it. It doesn't matter what title it is. Every year there's shit everywhere, and it's just one of those things that they're not going to stop doing it because the maps will not look as good. Which is what apparently
they do look fantastic.
They do look good, but yeah, I don't know. I think some of the maps aren't as bad as a lot of people made out at first. I think it's hard to say without. It's always at the beginning of the game. Everyone complaining about respawns. Respawns are always shit. They're especially quite shit this year. But let's be honest, these things do tend to get fixed.
I was playing Hardpoint. Really enjoyed Hardpoint.
I haven't played it yet, so I can't comment.
I remember
can't
back in
comment
Infinite Warfare, like the start of that game, Hardpoint was just awful. Like the spawns were terrible. And
Do you remember Seaside last year?
probably
Beginning of the
has,
game?
yeah, even
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, and this year there's probably bigger issues than the spawns. Maybe like thinking about the way trophies work right now, the fact that like trophies take ages to get, and nade spam could be insane, and domination especially, and all this kind of stuff. But there's probably more stuff to fix this year in Respawn. Then again, they have more time to fix it before the league starts. Still somewhat concerned about that.
But it's problem is they're not going to fix the maps. You're not
No,
going to suddenly log into. You're never going to log into Modern Warfare and all these lades and houses have been removed. It's not going to happen.
I think
the maps are. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I agree. I don't think the maps are as bad as they've been made out to. Some of the maps that aren't in competitive, terrible. Just don't like them. Just don't like them. There's too much shit going on.
Ghosts all over again. Jesus Christ! Yeah. This time we don't even have obvious like.
So I think things like Arklov seems like an interesting map because it feels like they've added an extra third they don't need on that map.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it goes back forever, mate. Like,
I didn't realize that. I'd played a couple of GBS and Ds on that, and then I went in a ground war. Oh, it was a dominant headquarters or some shit, and I was like, how much more map is there here? I was like, oh, I've got them trapped in, boys. And there's another fucking 15 maps back here. I was like, we're still going. I thought I was already in this
cross
one.
between like.
Can you remember? Mark will remember.
Overgrown.
Mark,
you remember World at War when you would play CeeLo S&D, but then there was another fucking 2-kilometer farm field behind the bridge that you could also play.
For whatever reason, if you were playing a GB and you got it in a GB, you would like be playing domination for CeeLo, for example. It's over the whole map.
Yeah, it's not even the whole thing, is it?
I wonder if that's the fix, though.
Wonder if that's the fix. I wonder if they can do the thing where they just go, right, here's an alternate. Let's cut off the map. Because I went to B bomb, right? Because a lot of fighting goes on around A because it's kind of like one big lane thing and people smoke and go everything. But Arklov is special because I went to B earlier and I was like, right, I'm in B house. This should technically be the left side of this map. And then I was like, well, he went, you got the left flank? I went, I think so. Went back out, had a look, and I went, no, it goes on. It just, there's a lot more of it. Haven't got to the edge yet. I'll have to go have a look at how far this goes. There's a hill, there's a church, there's some other shit over here.
Yeah. My guy's calling out church after I'd already played some because I'd only played S&Ds now before I played it in pubs. And my guy's calling out church. I was like, where the fuck is church? Is it on the map? I don't know.
Same thing with Grasna, right? Like, what is that?
But you could do that with Grasna, though, I suppose. You could just, like, cut off certain bits of it.
I reckon they were like, has that ever really happened before? I remember World War II, they changed.
Just World at War, if I remember
it? Maybe World at War, I don't know. Like, I remember Aachen, they changed one of the windows from the beta. And last year they changed Seaside. They added that bit around the side.
Yeah, they adjusted Black Ops 3 map. I remember for competitive, there was like a little, what was it? It was like almost a balcony, like plat area. I forget the map. It was the map that Fellow like went off on. I forget the name of it, but there was like a little plat area, and they like totally changed like the way that you interacted with it and like the extra space that was on it. I forget, but I remember people freaking out because they like loaded in the next day and they're like, "Wait, this wasn't designed like that yesterday." So I think it has to be like really delicate. But I will say one thing that I think is possible, which obviously not a map designer by any means, but something that does sound to a layman like very kind of easy. Evac, perfectly. Thank you, Sweeper. That was the one that I was thinking about. Was that you can like maybe out of bounds things. Like obviously out of bounds is already a thing like on some of the maps. Maybe you like, draw a line straight across the map that says, hey, this is now out of bounds, so that you don't have to worry about that extra 30 yards or whatever that exists on the other side. But other than that, I don't know if you can really change like Brice said, like, I don't know, you could take like a building and just say, nope, this is gone. Now you just have a flat land here. Like doesn't work.
That's
that
an
way.
interesting point. Like I
mean, that would be the way. Like I said, things like I can't remember what's called now, but things like Arklov as well. It's just there's just so much. And again, and someone put in the chat, right? People are going to be rotating at 30 seconds left. You're damn right they are. I've been playing hard points a day. 30 seconds is almost bordering on late for some of these hills, by the way, because you've got a long way to go. And if you don't get that anchor, you're running into pre-aimed M4s, and you aren't getting it back.
That's why I don't really know how Hardpoint's going to work this year with that. Like, it's going to be a lot of early rotation anchor battles and stuff like that, which I think it could develop into being half decent. But I've literally not played any of it, so I'm just purely thinking about how it would work in my head. But a lot of players have complained that it is pretty impossible to break full setup teams with communication and whatnot. Like,
Some of them here's the thing, Marky, because I don't know what's going on with smokes yet in terms of competitive, but some of the maps I've been playing on, because of the reason you've just said, do honestly look like a Vapors convention. Because it's just 10 smokes just going off constantly. Because to move on this, or to go out and try and push something, or to get a better angle, a lot of times well, we'll just smoke it then. We'll just smoke it, because to push this is we either have to push into an M4 or a sniper or something, or we have to play chest high cover peekaroo and try and hope that somebody can get this snap.
I just wish they had it like Black. Why can't they just do Black Ops 2, man? Oh my goodness me! Wait, how long do smokes take to pop? Like how many projectiles can a smoke take? Not a smoke, a trophy take.
3.
Is it 3?
I think it's 3. I believe it's 3.
Okay.
But then again, you're not running. If you're running that, you're not running Dead Silence.
Yeah, I know.
It's like ages to get anyway.
It's literally tragic.
It's pretty tragic. Yeah, 10 smokes on the map is insane. Like,
it's pretty tragic.
Honestly, the way they did it in Black Ops 4 to some degree, where it built up over time, like. That kind of made sense with the smokes, because I remember in World War II there was kind of the issues where
it just needs to be Black Ops 2 made
to benefit because you could just get a nade back. But yeah,
I don't even think we need to compare it to any other COD like Black Ops 4, etc. Those aren't. That's not even anywhere near as good as the class system that was on Black Ops 2. Just had the perfect balance.
I remember a lot of the trophy systems going out and all that sort of stuff. It was very much a more balanced way of doing it. I'm surprised trophy system isn't equipment.
It is equipment in gunfight, so you can do it.
Of course, like, yep.
Because there's times on gunfight you'll get it. Well, one positive I will say, gunfight's still class. I still really like it personally.
It's good.
Completely besides what we're talking about, but either way. I think one of the biggest annoyances is the fact that the gameplay itself feels good. Like I think this is why the community are so like wound up about it, is that this game could be really fucking good. That's the thing. With a lot of changes, but at what point do you sort of limit of what changes
visually
are actually?
Visually, it's great. I'd probably change quite a lot of things. I'd increase the TTK slightly.
Well, is that not just the M4 though?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Maybe not. To a point, I think yes, but
I mean, there's the 725, by the way.
Right, we don't need to talk about that because that's out of competitive, so we don't need to talk about it.
But like, if you took the game and you put it on smaller maps, would the TTK still be that big of a problem? Not that I'm saying we could change the maps.
I think also bearing in mind that I think the problem right now is map size. Because some maps feel great 5v5 and there's a lot of space going on, and some even feel too big for that, and some. It honestly feels chaos. I put a 4v4 hardpoint earlier, and in a 4v4 hardpoint, the guy dropped 32 kills. A guy on the team dropped 32 kills. I'm sitting there going, this was a 5v5 on a smaller map, because I think that was Gunrunner, and Gunrunner's pretty big. So if that was on Hackney Yard or something, 5v5, I think we're going to hit AW levels of interactions, just without jetpacks.
We love that. No, we don't really love that. I'm being sarcastic.
Guys, it's an interesting game. Like, I don't know what I think there's a degree of adaptation that is needed between, because I remember when I first played Black Ops 4, I was like, oh my God, the time to kill is so long. I keep like shooting people and then like moving away. But by the end, I'm like, the time to kill in Black Ops 4 feels great. And then coming into this game, it's like, well, I feel like I'm dying really quick. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of people, like even on the competitive subreddit, who like to think they're, to some degree high and mighty compared to the Modern Warfare sub, but they're always talking about, if you run into a guy pre-aiming, then you're just dead, which is that kind of not what's meant to happen? Of course, to some degree, that is exacerbated because the maps just allow for that playstyle, so it seems like more of an issue than it is. But I think the gunplay on the whole is pretty good. I don't think the guns are overly imbalanced right now. I think there's a few that are good, largely because the time to kill is pretty damn good, but the M4 is probably slightly too good. The Kilo's also good. Like the Odin.
See, I still think the M4 is above and beyond the best gun by far.
It's the best gun. A small tweak, and we could have some decent weapon variety this year.
The M4 is getting enough. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind.
Try and run anything else. I was doing it in pubs. I was like, I want to try the Kilo. I'm just a bit bored of using the M4. AR-wise, anyway. Of course, the MP5 melts up close, etc., etc.
It's M4 and MP7, like literally.
The MP5 seems to be coming into it a little bit more. Players seem to be figuring out.
Good though, it depends. Attachment set is important, to be honest. Headshot multiplier, as Spaceman says, another key point because
that's true.
That is deadly. Like if some random gets a
and the whole
headshot
flinch thing, and it does happen a lot. I think honestly, just base health, just whack it up a little bit, and then see how it goes. I don't. The problem is that they made the CTK pretty low. They've then taken. I mean, we haven't even talked about the radar yet. I know it's not an issue for competitive, I suppose. So, but then they've done the thing with the radar. They did. They made so many areas you can actually go to. So they've just accumulated a lot of things that has made the game harder to play quickly. I mean, look, I said it's all slowing it down. It's all completely slowed it down. But they've just added in too many things, I think, to the point of where they're trying to force what they want to force on us. I think there needed to be a middle ground of, okay, if we're having all these buildings and all these places that you can camp, let's keep the TTK where it is. Whereas they've moved that down, they made all these places, they changed the radar. I feel as if they've just sort of like, I don't know, they've just they tried to balance the scales, but then they've thrown loads of shit on one side and it's just went bang like that, and it's, I don't know. I think the whole thing could possibly be fixed to a point with a base health upgrade for everybody.
We have these discussions literally every year. That's the most frustrating thing.
Well, I know. I
have these discussions every year, like, it's the same thing. They always try, and
in our head, it's simple. That's the thing.
Yeah, in our head, it's simple. Obviously, we're not saying that games design itself is simple, but at the end of the day, you're fixing things that don't need to be changed, in my opinion, and that's just a general thing that they've been doing in Call of Duty the last couple of years, and just changing things that don't need to be changed. The minimap, all these things, like it's just completely unnecessary, and they need to fix and look at the things that people are complaining about, and just give people a good Call of Duty game at the end of the day. I mean, they've got all the things that we consider not as important, right? The things like I mean, not as important, but just the things they have done right, like you said, are the likes of the gunplay, etc. Like visually, the game looks good, all these things, but at the end of the day, there's just so many little minuscule things that just ruin the experience for a lot of players. And a lot of my friends, I usually, like I say the same thing every year, I can usually judge how a public game is perceived or how good it is as a game in general, of just the opinion of my friends and seeing how like sort of public players, and a lot of my friends have got this game and have played it, and a lot of them absolutely hate it because they just say it just doesn't feel like COD. They have no idea what's going on. They're playing pubs and there's no mini map, and they come on and that's how they wouldn't have a deep level understanding of the game and understand how the spawn system would work, etc. But they would see the mini map and know, right, my team are around this area, the other team are around this area. That's how you sort of start to work out somewhat spawns at a like low level, and these things are just being taken away, and it's just making the whole experience for casual players as well as professional players and competitive players, whatever you want to call them, it's just not as fun.
I think one important thing to say is that people on Twitter have been saying it. A good competitive game is typically loved by everybody who plays publics. I mean, Black Ops 2 was a good
like
competitive
the eternally
game.
Frustrating point how like when people say competitive like ruins pubs or whatever, and then you ask them, okay,
do you guys not want to play a balanced game like
in COD history? And they come back with, some of them will say Nuketown, but then they'll often come back with like Raid and Standoff, and then like they'll think in their head through the games they've played. And the maps they come up with their favorites pretty much all the time are the most balanced ones that are played in competitive play and are designed with competitive play in mind, with to some degree, 3 lanes with some sort of interaction between them. Like,
don't say 3 lane maps for Modern Warfare subs here. Jesus, for some reason that seems to be the problem. 3 lane map design. I don't think 3 lane map design is the problem at all. I think competitive like it because it works, and I think the problem why some publics don't like it is it hasn't always been great map design. Period. Over some of the Call of Duty games, some of the maps 3 lane design. Just having 3 lanes does not automatically mean a good map. Right, it is an aspect of it. A map can still be bad with 3 lanes. It's just a very good foundation to build a good map on. And I think that's why public players who are like, at least we don't have 3 lane maps, have got it in their head that 3 lane map can be bad, where they don't really understand that, no, 3 lane map is a very solid foundation. And it works very well and it flows very well. But, some people just want to sit in and watch the world burn with claymores and stuff. Some people like doing that.
I don't run any class without EOD in publics. Not one.
Yep, 100%.
Because you can run through and you're still hit to one shot. But
I don't even bother, and I just laugh. Like when I go through a door and just get claymored, I'm like, fair enough, mate. Like you outplayed me. On to the next life.
Yeah, let's move on then, and talk about perks. Not perks, attachments, because there is about 1,000.
I actually like. This is one thing I do actually like about the game. I fuck heavy with having that amount of customization. I think it's good. I don't see why.
I still don't know half of them do.
No, well, me either.
Cool,
but I think it's nice to have because it gives people a sort of I was going to say an identity, that's not right, but it's to the point of where you can sort of say, well, actually, I want to run this and give this a go instead. And it's not just a couple of different things. It's not like, do I run grip or not grip? It's, do I run one of these 15 grips?
Yeah.
So, there's to a point of where people can experiment and say, oh, well, it's to the point now where, like, I'm speaking to people who I know who are good at the game, and I'm like, well, what are you using? And they're, like, not telling people, like, while they're streaming and stuff, which is good, which is what I quite like, because it's like,
cool, yeah.
But somebody has an advantage. But we haven't seen it before. But it's to the point
of kind of like, I don't know. It's like what Marky said about his friends though, like not feeling like it's COD in the sense that when I first got on the game with my mates just to play some casual GBs, he was like, "What the hell am I looking at here? Like, why have I got 16 different options for attachments? Like, what are all these doing? Like, it would be nice to some degree if it would just be easier to make a class more. Maybe it'd be more accessible for some people."
Yeah. I agree, but that's the counterpoint to that. But I think it's a positive thing. I think the whole gunsmith thing is good. Fucking loads of camos, which is good. I mean, that's not important.
Yeah, those aren't the things I would really compare about. Like, complain about, sorry.
Yeah. Not charms though. Not charms. Don't put charms on.
Don't put charm on. No, this shit happens though. It happens. I don't know how that's happened, but surely, like, that's just a mistake. Imagine they're like, well, it's gonna weigh your gun down on one side, so that's why you hit by it. It's a military sim, guys.
It's like the battle chatter. It's realistic.
Oh fuck me, we haven't talked about the battle chatter.
Oh my god. How have I forgotten that in the sound design? Battle chatter.
What a terrible idea.
I was creeping through trades earlier. No idea where the guy was. My player must have seen him through like a hole in the trade or something. Just start screaming at the top of the head. He's on the train tracks. And then their player started screaming. He's on the brilliant.
Yeah.
But that's great for my technical prowess.
Have you not seen one of the videos of Hitch and the boys he plays TS2? One of them was sitting in the corner waiting for the defuse, and he said, "Enemy spotted," and then the boy just spun around and shit on him, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" Well,
that happened to me yesterday. I'm sitting in a corner, and I hear, "Oh yeah, enemy inbound." I'm like, I see nothing. Like I am literally looking like at a wall. I see
the
like
players
there's no
have
way I see
legit
anybody.
vision, like 20/20 shit. Even on like long distance, it's like enemy on the train tracks, and you are literally maybe 3 kilometers away on ground war, but they're seeing them, and you're like, well. They know where. I don't know. I mean, they were saying that okay, maybe we should bring it in as an option to turn it off, and I'm like, it's more important for S&D than anything.
Yeah,
like hardpoint stuff is like, it's not ideal, but it's not. Just
turn it off.
No, just turn it off. Turn it off. Absolutely. But like,
it's been off in the last like fucking 10 Call of Duties. I don't know why it's a thing. It was in Ghost at one point, and I remember everyone was having a mental breakdown about it, and they thought, okay, let's just whack it back in there. Let's just get it back in the next.
Honestly, if they called this Ghost 2, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah,
it's quite like Ghost.
Think about it. Domination's back.
TTK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize how I forgot what the TTK was like in Ghost until I was playing it in the off season, and just fuck me.
It's literally, mate. The honestly, I tweeted about it the other day. I've never panicked so hard whenever somebody calls out through battle chatter because I'm going, shit. Where are they? I know someone's called, especially on Piccadilly. It's one of the typical ones on Piccadilly, by the way, is buses. Battle chatter calls out buses, and I'm sitting there going, well, that's me fucked because I have no idea which of these 400 buses this bastard is behind.
Scaffolding's always called out as well every
time. I find
oh
it as well
gosh.
when I'm sitting on top 3 or like the top 3rd story construction on Ramaz on S&D. I think there's like an unrendered wall or something because I'm sitting up there and my guy's calling out people constantly and I can't see anyone. So my guy's literally like seeing someone through walls or something. Like there's just no one there. He's like, "There's a guy top balcony." And shit like
the
that.
thing
Just
is
like,
as well is that
cafe.
Yeah, you don't know the like. Well, for me, I don't know some of the call outs or anything. So it's like he says it, and I'm like, Where? Where? I don't know.
It's on your
Is
team.
it
It's
Top
like, hey, bro, it's Top
Yeah,
Cafe. Come on.
Top
Like,
Cafe, and I'm like, fucking, I don't know what Top Cafe is.
Do you think some of the call-outs are going to be difficult this year, Marky, considering how intricate these maps are?
I think, yeah, but I think that's something that we'll figure out.
In previous years, we've had like orange and blue, and like it's very obvious where these are. Like
Yeah,
you
the
talk about
maps are-
Ramaza. Ramaza is a nightmare for call-outs.
Yeah. I
That's
think it's
another-
something that will get developed eventually. I think it's, like I said, just looking at the game itself, it does look like it would be fairly difficult, but I think it'll be all right.
everyone's gonna be angry. They're like, "Oh, we already used grandmas for our call out because we have 9 different buildings that we can call grandmas as
9
well."
different, slightly decrepit cottages.
I still think Ramaza is going to be the worst one. I actually got lost to Ramaza, and I couldn't get to the hard point. No idea how to get into it.
Lost in
I was like-
Ramaza? It's like the smallest map.
Mate, it was by which bomb site was it? The bomb site that's inside the building, not the one that's in the open courtyard. Yeah. And I was sitting there going, I'm like, and the one of the hard points is up top on the bridge. And because I'm S&D, I've only ever been to the other bomb site. So when we played hard point, because that's the only one I went to. I either hold top mid or I go to that bomb site. So I went, right, how do I get up here? I found myself in the enemy spawn before I found a way up top. And I'm like, right, I've got shot in the back now because I've managed to run through the entire map the wrong way.
That's another thing Swade's just pointing out. The metal detectors on Piccadilly as well.
Oh,
I know I'm sort of 50-50. I don't hate it, but I don't like it because you can't do anything about it. That's the problem. But then, I don't know. I think from a pure competitive integrity point of view, I think they should go. But I don't know. It's how loud they are. That's the problem. More than anything, maybe if they were really quiet, like. I don't think
you can moan about them and still be okay with doors being in the game. Then,
well, that's true.
Mate, the doors on Ramaza, like, what is going on?
There is a lot of them, especially if you go bottom mid and you're like, I'm going to rush through here. I was trying to do it in GBs yesterday and I have to open 4 doors before I can get through. And it's like, well, if it didn't hear me, they heard me now. It doesn't matter if I got dead silence at this point because I've just battered through 4 doors.
It's actually, same Matt Ramaza had a thing the other day up top. And so I don't know, everybody knows this. If you do the peak, which is where you're ADSing and open a door, it opens it like I don't know, like 3 inches. Problem being is it is still incredibly loud. I laughed because I was top watching like out towards bridge and stuff, and I just heard this go. Just went, all right. I was like, that is the worst peaking situation. That is the worst peaking mechanic I've ever seen.
I feel like I'm being sneaky as hell when I do that as well. Like,
no, it's not. It's so loud. It's so loud. You honestly, it's better just kicking the door in. I don't even bother open doors normally, by the way, because there is no point. As far as I'm concerned, it's just about as loud to open a door as it is to kick it in. So I just kick in every door.
God, it's truly
bizarre.
Like, why does that happen?
Let's
a good point as well about in CTF how, like, imagine on CTF you're just got the flag, you run away, and you just close the door behind you. Like, how stupid a mechanic is that? Just bang through a door and close it on the way out. What a game!
I don't mind that though because you have to actually turn around to close it though as well.
True,
slow you
like,
down. But still,
put the key in, lock it. Just
imagine. Oh fucking hell, imagine. I know, but I don't know who went. Who
full realism, mate.
Whoever the map designers are went. You know what we need? Doors. that's what Call of Duty's missing. Is doors.
Just watch too much Rainbow Six.
Yeah, possibly.
Soon you'll be able to shoot through the doors, so then just the material's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, if you could just blow them up, like if grenades went through them, honestly, not through the door, but to the point.
We should put riot shields in the game. That way you can actually have a door that won't move. You just stay there. Just stay. Just be the door we need because this one is shootable through and makes a lot of noise. I don't know. Like, I think I'm trying to think of other bits of feedback. Some of the streaks this year being quite high up and stuff like the VTOL. Obviously, I think AI streaks are going. I was trying to bring up the.
Some of them haven't.
Yeah, where is that? I'm trying to bring it up now because it's actually not pinned. If you're from COD Competitive here and you haven't pinned the new rule set, what is wrong with you?
Pinned, actually. I thought
there
it
is.
A heads up.
Yeah, it's not pinned. There we go. It's halfway down the bottom. Revan is not sorting this out. But there's some interesting things. So in the where is it? In the rules here, which is actually broken by the way on GB's.
Hardpoint, I think.
No, it's hardpoint captured team spawn delay.
Yeah.
Which is what the players ran into yesterday.
So what does that do?
You can't spawn on Hardpoint if something's captured it or someone's touched it. Or honestly, mate,
So like headquarters.
But worse, because we recaptured the Hardpoint off of them, and because one of them I think was still alive, the entire team just didn't spawn. So unless he got himself killed, honestly, mate,
Did they not change it straight away? But GB haven't changed it.
So yeah, basically in the CDL settings, it's off.
It's just written wrong, like.
But in the actual variant settings in the CDL variant settings on GB's website, it says enabled, where it's supposed to be this. Yeah. Because I went into a game to it about an hour ago, and we were like, all right, is that supposed to be on then? And we went into it, and the other team quit out about halfway through, going, this is quite frankly ridiculous. There's 2 people on the map at this point. And the rotation's coming, because we captured the last one by train and managed to rotate to back Cole before they spawn back up. So we stopped it and turned it off. But obviously that is supposed to be off. But there is a lot of stuff to... Yeah. I'm hoping, by the way, because this is now where we move on to the CDL rules. And this for the rest of the season. I'm hoping that these become selectable rules in the menus.
I find it so depressing how far backwards we've managed to move from like Infinite Warfare when they first had integrated game battles. You could post it on the website, you'd join up, and like you didn't even have to add them. It was perfect. They'd done the same thing in World War II. Brilliant. The rules are already sorted. Join the game, press start match, press ready up, whatever. Good to go. Obviously, it's understandable, right? Like that's not their main thinking coming into the year. Like that's obviously not high on their agenda list with all the other things going on. But it's still just very frustrating how these things all have to be set up manually. There's no ETA on this stuff,
it's
right?
Franchising, yeah, man.
Yeah, I know.
I forgot one last mechanic I wanted to talk about.
Go on.
Because we were talking about smokes, right? The old counter to smokes, or the old mechanic with smokes, is that you could use a thermal sight.
Oh yeah, they don't work.
They don't work.
I mean, that has to just be a fix coming in, though. Like
no, it's not. It's not. They said that's working as intended.
It's a tactical.
Okay, well then, if it's working as intended, they need to rethink of how it's intended and think this is how it should work and how it has consistently worked in Call of Duty historically, and how it has worked to the benefit of Call of Duty historically. And
just adapt, bro.
It's been a great thing. I think there's so many good plays and things they can I mean, they're trying to slow the game down. I'm guessing for viewership reasons. I mean, I think personally that there's a lot of cool things you can do if you have extra strategies like smoke, thermal plays, etc. available that can make the broadcast even better. But that's just the way I look at it anyway.
What's worse is I saw something in the chat earlier. I can't remember who said it because it was way back up. And they said teams are agreeing now at the moment to run 2 smokes or whatever many smokes or whatever. But first of all, if there is a GA, nobody really is going to notice if some team is running 3 smokes unless they've really studied the podcast.
Yeah. But I mean, why wouldn't they limit it? Could they not just limit it?
I don't know because I don't know if the option's there in game to limit it for 2. I mean, it's never been an option in COD to limit how many people have X, Y, and Z unless you're on the PC and you're doing pro mod or something.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it if it was an official rule though. Yeah,
but how do you check it? How do you check without an in-game mechanic to check it? Because I'm telling you right now, I was actually annoyed at people the other day I was playing with for not having smokes. I was like, we need more smokes. It's the only way to move on this. Give me more smokes.
How have we went from Black Ops 4 to having no smokes to now be... it's such a British thing. It's like we complain when it's cold and complain when it's hot. It's just fucking 2 different directions. No smokes to then too many smokes.
I do worry about the massive amount of smokes that actually are possible. Legitimately, with we talked about on the map, with how fast TTK is, you could be roaming. You know what? I might just throw a random smoke where a guy could be, so I don't have to worry about dying. And that actually may be beneficial. You might be able to justify that because you're actually in some ways benefiting the team. And from a broadcast standpoint, obviously from player standpoint, it's going to be so hectic. I know obviously some of us may be familiar with Gears of War. That was a big deal because obviously Smokes did a few different things, and that was a big issue for the players. Was there was so much smoke happening that I physically can't see, and it became a really big problem. And thankfully they adjusted a little bit coming to Gears 5, but still to no avail. Like I worry about smokes becoming so much of a factor that you have to run them
like
in
a
respawn.
crutch.
And
Yeah.
like it could become like a
100%.
game-breaking thing. And from a viewer standpoint, the last thing I want to see is I want to enjoy the beautifulness of the map. The game looks great this year, and then there's smokes everywhere. Like,
But
I just
someone put this out I don't know how many guys you use smokes that much, but smokes aren't solid on this. You don't go into a smoke cloud and it's still smoky. It's like I almost think it's like a ring. Because I actually walked into a smoke the other day, and I was like,
you can like.
I'm inside the eye of the storm here. It's perfectly clear from me to the other bloke who's in here. I was like, this isn't smoky at all. We're in some sort of hurricane of smoke. So I don't know exactly how it is, but they're a little bit weird.
Mm.
And I know some people are saying like, you can like be inside of it, but my thing is just the ability to block the vision, like the ability to block someone. And we talk about like how high cover some of these maps are. Like I just keep thinking of like Arkalov for this example. But like if you're in the middle of rotating, if you're trying to like make a late flank, or if you're even just trying to get to a hill and someone's cutting you off, just throw a smoke down. Like legitimately, just throw a smoke down and just try to run across, block off their point of view, and it's worth it. And it's kind of worrisome how much of a factor it could be.
Here's another thing. Smokes have a different mechanic again. So a lot of the time, smokes used to either like roll or they would bounce a bit before they go off. I threw several smokes earlier, and they get caught on overhead wires, on lampposts, on sides, and they will just go off. They don't give a shit what you think where they should go off. They're like, oh, touch the sign, off, and you're just 20 feet in the air, and there's a smoke cloud. And like, brilliant. My cut-off's now completely open because there is a map where you need to do it on S&D, and I can't remember the map name.
It's you're talking about getting into
A.
Getting into A, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to smoke that cross, right, from both sides, or you can't get in because people nade it and snipe down that way. So in Petrograd, you have to
spray it with M4 and you die with 3 bullets.
Yeah. So you basically like
you get hit by a nade, and you get hit by like a bullet, you're dead.
Yeah. I did it twice earlier. I managed to catch it on the signs. But it is curious. But like I said, let's go back to the CDR rules and talk about them because they have dropped its V1. Quite a lot of maps in V1, actually. Considering of the people who were moaning, saying we're not going to have a deep map pool, they have put a lot of maps into the first one.
And I just want to quickly talk about, I know it's just rumor and stuff, but look, obviously with the whole thing about map packs being free and everything this year, I'd expect we probably see that map pool get deeper as well.
Please give me
I'm fucking all for it. Give me 15 maps per fucking game mode. If we're gonna have a 20-minute veto process, that's Marky B's problem, not mine.
Yeah,
so
Marky.
Terminal, crash, vacant, scrap yards.
Yeah.
Those.
If they fucking work, throw them all in. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of them could definitely be good for S&D. I'm unsure how some of them would work for Respawn.
It depends on so many different things, though, doesn't it? It depends. Hill position, all that shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like at the same time, it's one of those ones where the way Respawn's usually if it is ever brought into the rule set, it's kind of hard to. It's usually sort of forced because most of the time when somebody plays a Respawn game mode for the very first time, if it comes in like a couple months into the game, it's not going to play well straight away. Like you're not going to know how to influence the spawns, etc.
Yeah.
And then
I'd like to give
very
them
fast to diminish. Like
give it time.
This doesn't work. Like blah blah blah. This isn't going to be good. This isn't better than all these other maps that we already have. Let's not bring it in. That's usually what happens every single time. I'm trying to think how many years DLC has been brought into like for Respawn.
Not many.
I know AW for one. I don't know if I'm forgetting any.
No, it hasn't happened very often. WM2 did as well, didn't they? They had Valkyrie. We spoke about this briefly. But that's the issue, right? Is I actually want DLC now, and if it is free DLC, get it in.
There's no reason why you shouldn't.
I want a deeper map pool. I want a deeper map pool. I think teams should have a deeper map pool. I'm sorry, I know it's more work for the players and the teams, but let's face it, you're going to be playing it anyway. Figure it out. Figure out what maps you're good at. Let us have a more variety of thing, and let's have teams specialize somewhere. Especially when they should have big coaching staffs. You know, Toronto Raptors got Marky B, so they can fix it. But here's some of the things. I've already through some of these rules. And see if anything kind of sticks out. I'm not going to say every single rule because that's quite clearly mental.
I mean, domination is the one that sticks out to me.
Domination, third game type. I played it earlier, and I thought it wasn't very good, admittedly. But that was one map, and that was a map I hadn't played domination on before, but it was so difficult to get 5 down or 4 down or whatever.
Historically, it's not been a good comp mode. Historically.
It's just not great. I don't think it's a great spectator comp mode. It spreads players all across the map.
You have to work out who's winning, like who's going
There's
to win.
He's going to win all the maths as well.
Oh,
There's
yeah. Welcome to hell.
There's and even like S&D, right? So here's my thing about domination. On S&D, it's similar to how players spread across the map, but you are always aware on S&D that they are going to go to one of two bomb sites eventually. There is a main focus, and that focus is the bomb carrier and how that a team will control the map to meet that end. And obviously being slow, it allows you to watch tactical gameplay. Domination will spread 10 players across the map to try and cover everything. And when you're watching that from that home point of view, you don't know whether or not an engagement over there is very important or an engagement over there is very important, or we've got one guy going for a massive long flank. All these gunfights are going on, but there's no clear objective here because you end up switching between going, oh, he's flagging the C, no, he's dead, or maybe they make a B push, no, or they're going to go for the... It's just all this like repetition of just over and over again, trying to figure out what the player's doing, how the game's flowing. It's not a very stable flow, in my opinion. It could be worse, obviously. It could be blitz, but it's not, thank goodness. But
imagine blitz at Arkalov peak. Oh gosh.
Oh.
I think domination. We'll give it a go. Obviously, playtesting is my number one thing here, right? I don't disagree with anything in the rules. I just want it play tested. I want every pro to play test the living shit out of it, and then we make an informed decision. And the same thing, it has to be every year. But I don't know what you would replace domination with. Somebody said headquarters. Well, it's just hard point, but different.
I wouldn't want that and a hard point. Like,
yeah,
I don't like hard point on this game. I actually played it earlier. I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't mind it. I think difficult breaks, but
I think your point about domination is actually pretty interesting. I feel like the game modes that tend to do the best have an element of like calm before the storm, where you have like an element of a lot of action, but there's a build up to it, which is why Search is so good to some degree. Like you can see, oh, okay, like they're about to hit this bomb site, but there's two defenders. What's going to happen? Hardpoint's the same thing. You're setting up for a hill. From a spectator perspective, that's great to see. Whereas domination, I completely agree. A lot of the time, there's so much stuff happening all over the map. You don't know what's going on. The thing that people talk about, right, is CTF as the game mode that people thought, okay, back to boots on the ground. World War II had it. That would kind of make sense. Like, I'm not convinced at all these maps would work for CTF because, like, the depth of the maps and the how far back you can go. When we were playing Ardennes Forest in World War II,
yeah, exactly.
Especially in Black Ops 3. Marky B knows better than anyone, right, on that map. How chilling right at the back was a very effective strategy. And that was in a game that had a 3-lane map. It had a map design that worked theoretically for Search. You pull down one lane, you hold the other two. This game, it doesn't seem to make sense much in terms of flow. I think it would be incredibly campy. I do not see CTF being an exciting prospect in this game, which is why I think we should give domination a go, personally.
CTF, and I agree with everything you said there, Rab. CTF always comes down to one thing, and people always overlook it. When I see people moan about CTF, they're not looking at the right thing. It's map design. It's where are the flags, and how do those flags get pulled correctly? To look at a good thing for that, you have to go all the way back to Black Ops 2, and even to like a lesser degree, like Modern Warfare 3, CTF on that game. I know Marky B's, a veteran of that time. But if you remember, it's you basically cut the map down. What you do is essentially, if you pull one lane, you basically half cut the other one. You're not pushing all the way. You basically are trying to hold the cuts then and get map control. So it's a lot of the game has to be about center map control. And when you have that, it basically means that players can't sit all the way back behind the spawn. They're not trying to hold a crazy angle like just off the flag. They're going for mid-map control because it's more important than that. And a lot of the games, think of the games we've had CTF on, don't have that. Black Ops 3 didn't have it, right? What else games have had it? Because I think Black Ops 3 was about one. WW2 didn't have it. They put the flags too far back. It made it very, very difficult, and it rewarded sitting back, You remember Marky was the one who went famously, I think, went 18-0.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits. There was also like negatives to playing that style on that game. Like you could get overrun, but if you're able to sort of micromanage it well with your team pushing out the different directions and whatnot, it was definitely a valid strategy. Like you said, I think that we've not really got CTF correct. CTF hasn't been correct in a lot of Call of Duties, and it's one of those game modes that I think if done correctly could be good. But
it's because you don't really spawn people out as much as you used to.
Yeah,
you don't get them to push. Basically, you don't ever want to be positioned on CTF where you get pushed out, where a team doesn't really get pushed out, so they can actually wrap back. Or you basically want to have that team either forced to go for mid-map control again, or try to push towards the flag if they win a few gunfights. And it doesn't work. It hasn't worked properly since then. But it is, and these maps, by the way, just wouldn't work for it. Just would never work for it. It's too big.
The spawns as well to make sense on this map. Like, can you imagine the amount of chaotic spawns we're going to have on these maps if they put CTF in?
Do you know what I think would be great on this game though? Control. Even though it has the same issues that Domination has of splitting players, I was not sure about it on Black Ops 4 when I first saw it, and then I actually ended up loving it. I ended up loving Control because it did have an ebb and flow towards the map. It did have some great gameplay going down. A lot of the times you wouldn't have teams split between two, or if they did, it was a pivot. It was all these different things going on. I think Control on this game would work, depending on where they put the control points, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Control would be fantastic to see. Whether or not it gets put in,
I don't think it will. It's probably one of those game modes. It's one of those things that's like, oh, it's
disappear into the other.
It's Treyarch's creation. We're not going to put it in the game. Blah blah blah.
Same thing out Infinity Ward when they made Ghosts, right? It didn't even put Hardpoint in, right? Because it was like,
that's what I mean. Black Ops 2 literally
a different thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Black Ops 2 Hardpoint was genuinely the biggest success of that year. There was just constant good things said about it, and they didn't put it in the next title, which was a bit confusing. But I mean, to be honest, CTF wasn't in Ghost either, which was a strange one because it probably would have worked very well in that game.
Yeah, I said we had Blitz.
Yeah.
We had Blitz where my team
Oh boy.
literally got top 3 at that Anaheim by winning most Blitz by just using 8 times smokes and just throwing smokes everywhere and just running through them.
I hate that game mode. There are very few things I genuinely dislike in Call of Duty. I'm a massive Call of Duty fan and I love so much of the series. But casting Blitz is one of the lowlights of my entire career. Because that game, and I'm not joking you, that game I honestly thought should only be 2 minutes long. Because for a lot of, almost every single one, it's like you get the exceptions where a team gets blown out. But it was, they've traded. They've traded. They've traded. 2 minutes left. Now it's intense trade. It's just the same shit over and over again. Honestly, it was the honestly, go back and watch some of the matches and all the highlights people are remembering from Blitz. It was great and tactical and all this. I went, no, trust me. It was the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes were great of every map. Because then it was like, if someone makes a mistake, then something might happen. But for the rest of it, it was just, we're trading. It's like 23-23. Who gives a crap? I don't know. One of the things, like I said before, the one thing I did want to highlight about this is Search and Destroy right now has 7 maps. Hardpoint has 6. Domination only has 4, but that's a third game mode, so it's not too important. I feel like that's a more than I was expecting, and I don't know why. Considering there aren't that many maps on this game that work for it because of the ground war stuff and the 10v10s and all that. Is there any maps out there that stand out for you that you're thinking, or maybe we'll get that switched out for a DLC map?
All of them.
Have a look through them.
All of them.
No, I'm being very pessimistic. I think there's a bunch of maps that I might think are just rubbish right now, but when I play them more, like Arklov, for example, is one of those maps that I thought was awful at first, but I'm starting to grow towards it.
There's a lot of depth on these maps. Like, honestly, I think we've been kind of not spoiled isn't the right word, but it's just the maps we've had the last couple of years, there hasn't been a lot of depth to them. Like Infinity Ward's last game, Infinite Warfare, those maps were the most basic maps like we've ever had. There was barely any like interesting corners or spots or anything. Whereas this game, there's so many angles, and like it's annoying to play at first, especially annoying to play for pubs. But for S&D, it gives so many potentials, like the little spots, the jump spots, pre-snipes. These sort of things are coming back in this game in a way that they haven't done before. And Arklov Peak actually, I think, could be a decent map. I kind of like the prospect of that. There's not many of these, which I don't know. I don't want to outright say any of them are bad. I just think the bomb placements need to be switched up on quite a few of them to make them viable. Or maybe even someone suggested, like on some Petrograd, like let's say you leave the A bomb where it is, but and then you move the B bomb and you just swap sides where offense and defense start on, because right now it just doesn't make any sense. The fact that defense has to smoke to get into their own site. But
Yeah.
issues like that, assuming they are overcome and things change, then I think we could be in for a really good year, especially Search and Destroy wise. I'm enjoying playing it, game battles.
Yeah, Search and Destroy is good. It is good. I think as time goes on and people start maybe finding little bits here and there where, you know, you can abuse some sort of like the doors, etc., then it will become potentially like a little bit deeper. But then, you know, you start to figure them out. I think S&D is immediately the most positive thing about this game.
I love S&D.
It's good. I think it's just I go back to my point is that I think everyone's seen how good S&D is. The game in general has its flaws and has big flaws, but it has the potential again to be a very, very good game. And I think that is probably where a lot of the community's like frustrations lie. It's where my frustrations lie. I play in it, and I'm sort of like I'm enjoying it, and then I hate it, and then I enjoy it, and then I'm like, shit, what about this stupid thing in here again? And I'm like, oh, but the game's quite good, but then this stupid fucking thing happens, and then the game's good, etc., etc. It goes on forever. So I just think if they fix some of the things, we get a good game, but it's just a case of are they going to fix them the way we want them?
Moving on slightly, because I know there's something here, and I need to bring up a comparison thing. The kill streaks that are banned, some of them are typical, some of them I'm curious about. Personal radar, banned. Shield turret, banned. Fine. Although shield turret, technically you have to set up and get on, so I don't know, maybe. Although I suspect any pro that's listening to me right now is just a moron. Counter UAV and care package, fine. IAV, obviously. Sentry gun, they were in Black Ops 2 for a little while, but I don't think anybody particularly keen on them, especially in this game.
I haven't even seen if there's a point where you can counter them.
It's true. Emergency airdrop, obviously. White phosphorus. I've not actually seen it. Isn't it just a massive strike? Isn't it just a massive airstrike?
It's like a massive airstrike, but it lingers. It's like the white smoke.
That's why. That's why.
You.
Like napalm from back in the day.
Advanced UAV. That's an obvious. Juggernaut. I actually want Juggernaut to be in, but that's just me being distant on anything else. I mean, admittedly, if a pro gets 15 kills in a row,
been done before.
Yeah, well, they should be allowed it then.
Yeah, like Marky beyond strong CTF. I should have got a full nuke. Should have got everything.
Imagine you're on strong on CTF and they finally try to get you, Marky, at the back, and you're just sitting there with a Juggernaut and a minigun. Just, yep, not getting this for the rest of this half.
That would actually be bad if that was a thing on CTF.
Yeah,
and it's mathematically impossible. They've got Juggernaut. Good luck.
Yeah. Here's one from the equipment, because I'm going to skip over some of the rest of it. Like they've got rid of shrapnel, tracker, restock, kill chain highlight, overkill. Those are all the perks they're gone. In equipment, they've got rid of stim, which I think is funny. I just find it funny because I don't think a lot of people would take stim anyway in this game because the TTK is so low. You're not going to get a lot out of a lot of them to survive.
I don't know.
But the fact that I've just taken it out, especially because I was like, we just played with Stim all last year, and now it's an option in this game, removed.
I mean,
Does
for
that
good
not
reason.
just tell you more about Black Ops 4 than anything?
Stim resets your super sprint. Super sprint isn't that powerful. I don't know, people are acting like it's some sort of greased lightning. It's not. You're just a little bit faster than a normal sprint.
It could be powerful.
And you hold your gun up. I don't know.
Powerful in S&D from Brice.
No, that's rushing. Super sprint. I mean, nobody's going to go, right, I need a double super sprint this one to get there a half a second faster. Because first of all, you're going to hear them coming in this current game, but Jesus. But it's an interesting one for me that these rules come out because they are more or less what I've expected. Like you go straight into any GB and you go through. Do you think there's anything egregious, anything either left out or put in that we are expecting a change on?
Well, I don't know.
There is an equipment delay in S&D, which some people are not happy with at the moment.
Is there explosive delay yet?
Yeah, did they put in a nade delay or am I?
I know there's an equipment delay.
Well, there needs to be an explosive delay, and S&D just forced
Yeah, because the pre-nades right now, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. It would change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
But the tactical one, the equipment, will be because of smokes and having to use them straight away, pretty much. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of small changes that need to be made to this game full stop before. I mean, how long could we honestly go on? How long could we go
for a while?
We were speaking about Dead Silence for 25 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Never mind anything else.
Yeah, I mean for good reason.
Oh yeah, exactly. I just I think when we were putting the guests together for this, I was trying to think, all right, okay, let's get some people positive, and I was like, I'm in the positive camp. I like the game, but then it's just annoyed me more. If anything, it's just annoyed me more.
I like the game. Let's move on then. Let's go. Questions from the chat. If you are sitting in the chat right now, this is the section of the show where we talk to you directly and answer some quick questions for myself, Tunn, and our guests. Talk about NRG, Chicago, Atlanta, etc. The rosters. We talked a little bit about Dallas. Chicago, I thought, was also pretty good. I like the whole.
I think it's hard to discuss them too much, though, because they've been discussed to death because they've been rumored for about 6 years.
That is true.
Yeah.
So it's hard to discuss them because I feel like we've already done it. Chicago team on paper sounds elite. They haven't really done much online yet, but it's first week, so what do you tap into? Very little. As far as the other teams go, it looks like, some of the other ones are being announced. There's certain ones that look good. We're just waiting on 2 more. That's it. I think. I think Chicago's good. Scump, Formal, RCT's Envoy, and Gunless. It sounds ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous. There is some serious, hefty firepower in that team.
The Optic squad's good. Really good.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and they'll surely be a top team. It's just like that the Gunless question still lingers, right? Especially given there's this rumor with Dashy wanting to come into the team for Gunless and this stuff. And also when you think like, what's the longest stretch Gunless has been on a team before it's kind of started to disintegrate? They had the Rise Nation run, but like it feels like friction is inevitable. And there was surely friction between Formal and Gunless when they were on Luminosity. Zero came on the show and said some things to that end, right?
Yeah, there's been quite public knowledge that Gunless had issues throughout the years, which is obviously goes to the point that I might have made the last time I was on here. It's going to be interesting to see how these franchises deal with those sort of situations now, because obviously there's a lot more that goes into it than just simply dropping a player and picking a new player up. There's a lot more that goes into it. So that's actually it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting to see how everything pans out and how all the teams deal with all these sort of situations.
Yeah. I can see that happening. There's another one I want to quickly bring up. Seattle. I don't know if it's even been confirmed, but right now I've got it down as Karma, Enable, Octane, Slacked, and Apathy. I actually talked about this on Twitter. What is confirmed and what's not confirmed. I often forget because, like Tunn said, we've known about some of these rosters for so long. We always have to go, what's that confirmed? I can't remember if we talked about it.
So the Seattle one is confirmed, and I think
it looks like a really chill team. I like to just hang out with this team more than anything else.
I feel like a lot of these teams got announced like last Thursday. The day after we had this, so I'm like sort of confused.
When the game dropped as well, so much happened.
Yeah, Seattle was one of those weird rosters where if you look at it it just depends on the objective way that you look at it. If you look at the team itself and you're basing it off of last year, for example, I think the apparent cause for concern that everyone has is, do they have enough slaying power to hang with the best of the best? The likes of, if you look at Atlanta on paper, for example, the polar opposite, you'd say they're stacked with a lot of slaying power. But I think they do have a bunch of high IQ players that are multiple event champions, and players that can potentially step up to the plate and do that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that does pan out. But I think that's obviously one of the main concerns for majority of people looking at it on paper. But
yeah, I think the paper team is an interesting thing because there is an obvious, I think, team at the moment that may look like the team with the least last year potential, and that is Paris. And we spoke about it to Zed. We said, your team's clearly been designed in one specific way. And that's fine. We don't know. For all we know, these players could be fantastic this year. But they've obviously gone away from the pulling in the crims or whatever of the scene. So it's very curious to see how that ends up going through. But by the way, we've spoken so much on this one topic. We've got lots of people's questions to get to. Trust me, when they're all out, I have a cunning plan, very cunning plan for talking about the CDL franchises. One I'll tell Tunn at some point. But it will. Don't worry, it's going to be a great episode. I've got an idea for community engagement and everything. It's going to do. You remember our draft thing?
Oh, this is going to stress me out, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it's going to be great fun.
Is it going to be like me producing the draft again? Basically, where I'm just literally.
I think it'll be
to be fucking trying to produce it.
I think it'll be less intensive. So.
Oh well, that's good. Even though I did enjoy the draft, never mind.
Yeah. Why did Optic get to keep their own Twitter and other orgs needed to make a new one? I believe it's because Optic now only exists as a CDL team, so we can move forward. Favorite and least favorite branding, right? We'll outside of Ultra for you, Marky B, we'll go for. What other brandings caught your eye?
Let's have a look.
Sorry, my mic's muted because I was in the middle of nomming some popcorn. I think my favourite outside of, I think to be honest, the obvious one would be to go with Chicago, just for the pure simple fact, just off their rumored name and the logo and stuff, the rumored one. I think it looks cool, as well as just knowing what Hex, just having the Hex's involvement. They're gonna have a solid brand in regards to that. So I think that I'd go with Chicago just purely for Hex, like I said, and I like the logo. And least favorite, I'm not gonna lie, I probably would say Minnesota.
The Rockier.
Because I just
say
think they're just, I don't know how you say it. How do you say it, Brice?
Is it not Rocker?
I don't know. I have no idea how to say it. I think that's maybe the problem.
Let me find out.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the one thing I do like is they tried to go sort of outside of the box, I guess, with the name, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of it. So, boo.
Fair enough.
And Minnesota are rivals, so fuck Minnesota.
Okay. Here we go. Rab.
There it is. It's a good question. Like, I like the Dallas Empire quite a lot. I think that's class. I wish I could like the London Royal Ravens more. I don't know why it's Royal Ravens. It's tough to say. Like, just get rid of the Royal, and I actually like that a lot.
I agree with that. I like the London Ravens.
6 Raven stuff is cool.
There's a NFL team called the Ravens though.
Oh, okay.
They're the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
I mean, least favorite. I mean,
New York
is going to have to grow on me because, like, I mean, I'm not feeling it yet on the New York side.
Lando?
I don't know. Like my favorite, and I guess I could maybe coincide with like the logo a little bit. I do like the Dallas Empire, like what they've done. I think that at first I was like, Empire, don't really know how I feel about it. And as time has gone on, it's kind of grown on me a little bit because I like the idea of like royalty with a brand that has been around for the longest out of everyone else.
I think they just had a very good release. I think Empire had a fantastic release. Yeah. That's helped.
Yeah, that's true.
Agreed. And then I would say like worst, like I'm not the biggest fan of Rocker. I don't know. It just like for me, like obviously the conversation of us being like, wait, how do you say it? Like kind of for me already is going to be
this whole thing with reciprocity last year. I didn't know how to say that shit.
And
then we got there and it was fine.
Yeah. I think like Rocker and then Subliners, I think like Rab said, it's going to have to grow on me a little bit. I'll be honest, the logo, which I know a lot of people don't like, it has grown on me a little bit, but not to the point where I'm like, yes, like I would gladly wear that on a t-shirt and just, not think anything else about it. So I would say for me, Rocker, just because it's kind of complicated, which it could grow on me. And then Subliners, it's just the idea behind the name itself is just it's kind of off, I guess.
All right, I figured out how to pronounce it.
Okay.
Rocker, like that.
Oh,
so that O is meant. That O.
Yo, just growl.
I love the Minnesota Rocker.
It's that O, little O fucking thing. It's supposed to be pronounced. Is it like if you were to say the word earnest? It's supposed to be pronounced the same way that E is. So like yeah, it's like an
Please stop.
Rocker.
Yeah, please. Let's move on.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Someone listening on the podcast is just going to hear Tunn going, It should be like Ernest, Ricky. I think people haven't spoken about. I like Atlanta Phases thing, the AF. I thought that was a great way to bring it in. I like the Mutineers logo.
He's up, dude.
Yeah.
The Royal Ravens logo, by the way, reminds me of either like Logan Paul's Maverick merch or Warhammer 40K's Imperium. And if you go look up Warhammer 40K's Imperium logo, it's basically missing a head, and it's that. But no, I think Dallas Empire is good. Just purely on logo, I like the Mutineers thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I think Dallas
it's David Jones at fucking Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's exactly what it is.
I love the color scheme that they have as well.
Yeah. I don't know who I think's the worst. I think maybe the Subliners because I had to Google what the fuck it was. Even at the
Google
Rocket.
what the subliners was.
A subliner.
Yeah.
Come on,
As
bro.
in like.
I know. I get now. I know what it is now. I had to go. I was like, just double check, and I was like, I shouldn't have to double check.
Like think like tube liners, Brighty.
Exactly.
Subliners. Fucking hell.
No,
you're
if someone
an
made something after the tube, I'd be like, well, I don't think that's very good.
You uncultured swine. Anyway.
I know it's called the. I don't, mate. I had to Google it. I just double check. I'm not too big of a man to admit I check something. To pretend that you know everything is stupid, and to pretend that you're okay with not knowing things is ignorance. Let's move on because who are we getting on? Tunn.
What?
Best and worst.
Oh, best and worst. I didn't know you were still continuing the question.
We're gonna move
best one, I think, is probably the Florida one. I do like that logo.
Okay.
Worst. Yeah, I'm not massive on the subliners one. I think I don't mind the name of London Royal Ravens. I think the logo's a bit basic for me. I would like to see some fucking big bird instead of just like a 2D print.
I want to see. I want
That bird with Joe Penny's face on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Change
It's
the
a
logo
bit
to Joe
basic.
Penny.
Yeah, I would have liked to see something a bit more like some pure massive wing raven.
Yeah. Get Penny, Swizz, and Scraps
Yeah, like,
all dressed as dressed as ravens.
Have
Yeah.
the fucking crown on its head and shit.
Yeah. Right, let's go for some smaller questions. 5 best teams. We'll get to that because right now it's too small subject because obviously the top one is going to be Dallas right now. What about all launchers being banned but VTOL not? VTOL actually really easy to take down with a couple of clips. Really easy. In S&D though, it's a massive problem. But I don't know. I don't know if people are going to run launchers. What do you think about all launchers being banned?
But the thing, well, I
mean,
I think
yeah, go on.
I wouldn't know. I don't know why you would ban them. Well, actually, no, I would because they're really powerful against people. there was like on the first day. On the first day we were playing them, it was like people were firing the one that's like a javelin, like goes up in the sky, and they're firing on them at our spawn, and like shitting myself as shit's coming in from the sky in round 1. So there is that, but like they need to maybe reduce the damage against players, and then they can introduce them like they did in Black Ops 4. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's usually like with AI streaks and stuff. If you don't have a launcher, you're back in Black Ops 2. You'd switch to like an LMG class with rapid fire FMJ on your LSAT or something. But given that's not an option, I don't know. It remains to be seen how big of a deal it is. People are just going to shoot it down with your guns. I guess you can put FMJ on your guns. Not the end of the world. You can have a streaks taken down class with extended mags and stuff. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see if there's some quick ones because there are some bloody long ones in this one. Jesus. You guys are really good at asking questions. Maybe I should have had these in the topics. Do you think orgs will allow their subs to play in Path to Pro? That's obvious. I think most subs want that. And that's a lot of the times that's what they signed up for. I don't know if they're all going to do it. I don't know about that. Marky, I don't know if you even talked to your players about that yet.
Yeah, definitely discussed that with the players. I think that, yeah, I mean, I think the general plan is to have all the players competing in as much as whatever is possible, you know? I think it only benefits the players.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty simple one.
Fair enough. Do you think it's beneficial for teams to scrim even though the game is broken, essentially in the matter of much like the change for the league starts? Yeah. I mean, the problem with that entire question, Swade, is about players need to learn positions on maps that are used competitively and how to counter them. That all muscle memory and that map knowledge doesn't change with the meta. It's all fine. They'll adapt when the meta changes anyway. You're just not going to not practice and put yourself months behind. They need to know about map positioning and all that sort of stuff. So that's an easy one to get through. Best announcements at the moment, Empire maybe.
Empire's was good. I liked Chicago's. The bit where Scump went over the camera and took the piss out of Crimsix was.
Yeah, but that's not a full announcement. They haven't announced the branding.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but you just said
is pretty
announcement,
cool, even though it was short.
Yeah, definitely not London.
Yeah, Atlanta's was good because it had me in it.
That's true.
Unfortunately. Thoughts on London team? We've already covered the London team like a million times because they were the first team announced, so it was really easy for them. They haven't announced their subs yet, though, even though we do know who they are.
Yeah.
Question for Landon. When will we do another player interview? Landon?
Friday, I have someone lined up.
Fantastic. Is the Crim Scump situation staged? I don't think so. I think it's probably a little. I think it's embellished.
Yeah. That's probably the best way.
Yeah.
Best way to put it.
yeah, they know they know what they're doing. But
yeah, I was fully on board with them publishing that interview on the official CDL website. Oh, injected into my veins. Thank you.
Nah, I genuinely think they have real issues with each other. To be honest.
Well, actual beef, like scrapping.
Yeah, I genuinely think they don't like each other.
Well, is it don't like each other to the point of where like?
Well, I think they're obviously the hype videos and that where they're like, "I will forgive but never forget," all that stuff. Like that's obviously just that's obviously just to hype up.
Oh, it's like a scene out of Braveheart where you said it in your accent.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like obviously they're just trying to generate hype, but I don't think it's like fake by any means. Like it's like they're just doing it for the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it'll be interesting. The worst thing is, you could go 6 months and they team together and it'll be all forgotten. It's the way shit is in this. This is crazy sounding, but could Gunfight 5v5 on larger maps work as a third game mode? You're right, that is crazy, and no, it wouldn't. It's just that's S&D with less steps.
Although I'm all for 2v2 tournaments as like a side thing at like events.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be great.
It's the new 2v2 wager.
Do you think people are sleeping on London? Not particularly. I think there are some very powerful rosters out there, and London's kind of slipped down a little bit, even being the first one out. It's up to London to prove themselves. That's the pure point of it. You got to think about the amount of chips on that team. It's not high. That's the simple fact of it. It's just not high. And when you've got multiple time champions, world champions, and all that filling into these rosters, that's what happens. But
I don't know. I think things change. United at the beginning of the year,
Mate, London come out and body people, but it's not the thing. Yeah, you just don't know. So you can't sleep on a team when you've only got that sample size. Which team will you substitute the most? So I'm going to actually team this up with a question because somebody put this further down. Thoughts on Scump being out for 6 months after his rib surgery? Has anyone else heard this?
Wait, what is this?
What?
That's the first I've heard of it.
I think that's the first about it. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I've just realised what that's come from. Oh, no.
What?
It's from a clip on the Reddit about Scump saying he'd rather have a rib removed so he can do things to himself.
I actually did.
How have I just not clicked that is exactly what that is in the first time? I'll ignore that. We'll move on.
Yeah, edit that out.
Best merch. We'll come back to that when everybody releases theirs because it's not fair. There's only like 4 at the moment. Let's have a little look. Best challengers team. Don't know that either right now. There's still so many people.
There's so many unconfirmed rosters, etc., etc. It's just like.
All right, here we go. We'll end the show on this last question. Best map in Modern Warfare.
Oh, baby.
See, this is on Gunrunner.
Challenging one. Gunrunner's a decent shout. I think Hackney Yard is a decent shout, but I'm not convinced, to be honest.
You see, the difficulty is that this is a hard question to answer, and not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my vote towards Gunrunner.
Yeah. Simple, not like who's left.
Oh, Marky.
Marky's out.
Screw my production up at the end, Mark.
He dipped.
We'll get that last 2 questions in then. Lando, favorite map?
I agree. I like Gunrunner a decent amount. I will say with some it's hard. I don't know. I haven't seen like Hackney Yard played at like a super high level. I do like the map in its general sense. I think it kind of feels like something that could really work. So I would say as of this moment, I think Gunrunner probably is first for me, but I think the Hackney Yard could enter in depending on how it plays.
Fair enough. Rab?
I mean, I mentioned Hackney Yard briefly. I feel like just to throw I don't know. Ramazza actually could be okay if the doors are tweaked in mid. But I'll put a potential vote towards. I don't even know what map I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, St. Petrograd. I think that can work as well. I actually like playing that map quite a lot.
That's a good one.
Maybe some tweaks, but I quite like that map.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this one. Any final words from you, Lando?
No, I just appreciate you guys for having me on. Apologies for taking, 2 seasons, almost 3 possibly to be on the show.
Nearly our 50th episode, Landon.
I apologize. Hopefully I could be maybe brought back for more. I know I've kind of officially given my performance, so we'll see whether or not Brice likes it enough or not. But I appreciate
I guess.
Okay, there you go. I'll take that into consideration. But I appreciate you guys for having me on. Always a great time. So,
Rab, anything from you?
Yeah, same. Thanks so much for having me on as always. Yeah, no real final words. It's been a long episode.
It certainly has. Tunn?
Nothing particular from me. I said I'll be on all of our channels as per usual: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that basically. Yeah, nothing too crazy from me. I'm excited to see what Brice is going to tell me this episode we're having is about, and hopefully we'll let you all know when I find out.
We'll find out. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching / listening. Of course, we'll be on the YouTube if you've made it to the end here on the YouTube. Make sure you leave a comment. There's a few on the last week. The OGs coming through. Same as Spotify if you're listening there. Thank you very much. And the iTunes. Of course, this is Spitfire. We are trying to be as consistent as possible. We know you as the fans want that, and I think it's basically just respectful for us to bring it to you every single week at a reasonable time, So thank you for watching this Call of Duty Esports podcast. This has been Spitfire. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.